This is The Industry. A show built by the working class for the working class. If you have a job, this is the podcast for you. Here is your host, Levi Jett.
Hey, good morning and welcome to The Industry. So happy you could join us. We usually record on a Saturday or Sunday, but actually coming to you this Tuesday morning. Again, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this show. And we got a busy show. We got a lot to talk about today. Kind of away from the show past couple of weeks. Last week I was on vacation with the family. We went to we took a cruise, which I gotta tell you, I don't think it's my thing. I really don't think it's I'm a cruise person. The cruise was something that I always wanted to do, something that looked fun, but it was just so crowded. It was so crowded. The pools were tiny. There was stuff to do on the ship, but not a lot of stuff to do, if that makes sense. Not a lot of great things to do, just a lot of kind of dumb stuff to do. So we left from, well, first we drove from where we live near Indianapolis down to Fort Lauderdale, 16 and a half hour drive. Then from Fort Lauderdale, we sailed to Roatan, Honduras, then up to Belize, then to Cozumel, Mexico, and then back over to it was called Coco Cay in the Bahamas. It's essentially a island that is just the Royal Caribbean's, and then from there back to Fort Lauderdale. And you know, I don't know, we had fun in Honduras. Did kind of a private beach excursion is what they call it. The kids were able to snorkel, able to, play in some crystal clear waters there on that beach, eat some local cuisine that had kind of a buffet set up, which was fantastic food. And that's really kind of the best spot. Belize, we didn't get off the ship. You could see kind of where they were taking people, because the ship couldn't dock in Belize. I can't remember what they called. There was a name for it, but essentially, from what I grasped, water was too shallow for us to port at a dock, so the ship kind of just stayed a little ways off. It kept moving, and then they would take smaller boats and kind of shuttle people in, but you could see the entire island from the boat, and it was such a small island, it was almost comical. And so we just decided, it's not for us. Let's stay on the ship, let all these other idiots get off, and now the ship's not as crowded. The kids can play in the pool. They can do what they want. And then Mexico was all right. But overall it was just kind of underwhelming. Which I went to Vegas back in April, and I felt the same way with Vegas. So just it being underwhelming. Always something I want to do, had it built in my head, and it just kind of didn't deliver. And so I'm wondering if it's, is this me? Like, are my expectations too high? Or is it just really, these things aren't as great as advertised? We did see some pretty cool weather phenomenon during the trip. So when we were in Fort Lauderdale, when we first arrived, 16 and a half hour trip. So we arrived a day early and stayed a night in Fort Lauderdale. So we, played around the pool at the hotel and then ventured out to kind of head over to the beach. Walked up and down the beach a little bit, got something to eat. But as we were out there, there's a storm just off the coast. And, it's kind of watching, there was lightning going on. And all of a sudden, I see this, little funnel cloud come down and turn into a water spout, which was, I don't know, it was probably, dropped down doing its thing for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Never got, too terribly wide, but, definitely got, definitely was big enough. Got some decent pictures from it, which was, that's the first tornado I've ever seen in person. So that was a pretty cool, checklist item for me. And then when we were at the beach in Honduras, I was just kind of sitting there in my chair, relaxing, and started seeing all these people like, looking up at, like, dead up at the sky. And so it catches my attention. I look, and there's like this perfect, circular rainbow right around the sun. And I go, what the hell is this? And, get up, grab my phone, hoping that I could take a picture of it and actually pick up the rainbow and not have the sun, like, the light of the sun kind of block everything out. It was super hard to take a picture. You didn't know what you're taking a picture of. But, I got off a couple good pictures of it. And, both of these photos are on my LinkedIn. And the folks over at True Weather actually commented on that post and let me know that it was a sundog, which was confusing to me at first, because I'm a weather geek. Like I knew what a sundog was, and it's you see the sun, but then you kind of see almost like two fake suns to the left and the right of it. And to me, like, that's not what this was. But it was explained that because the sun was directly above me, that's why it looked circular like it did. If the sun had been on the horizon when this happened, then chances are it would have looked like a more traditional sundog. But the actual name of what I photographed is a 22-degree halo, is the official term as I'm being told. But still, I mean, one of the coolest weather things that I've ever seen. It was so well defined, and everybody out there that was paying any attention to it was, just kind of awestruck by what was happening. And it probably stayed around for maybe 10 minutes or so until some clouds started building in and kind of obstructing that view. But really, I mean, as far as the trip goes, the highlights of that trip for me personally were seeing the water spout and seeing this 22-degree halo in the Honduran sky. That was pretty cool. So Before we get into kind of the meat of the show, want to kind of remind everybody of a couple of things. So, the 26th Annual Snow and Ice Management Association Symposium is rapidly approaching. And so that is going to be next week in Hartford, Connecticut. So I will be there at least for one day. I think maybe two. I don't know. But June 14th, which is a Wednesday, I'll be there doing a workshop on mock storms and kind of, talking about them. We'll be running through one, and then also, letting people leave that workshop with a guide of kind of how to build one out themselves and hopefully use it, because I do believe that it's a game changer for those that are going to use it in our industry. Not everyone's going to use it. I understand this, but the mock storm really affords you a unique opportunity that you never had before, in my opinion. So not gonna spoil it too much. For those that know, they know. But if you're interested, come out and attend the workshop and see what I have to say. And then afterwards, if you want to network and interact more, I'd be happy to. And then if Hartford, Connecticut is not in your neck of the woods, I completely understand, because it's not for me. The Snow Fighters Institute is their next event is a operations forum in late June 27th and 28th in Michigan. They're on the campus, if you will, of the hot pink de-icer folks. So I'll be speaking there kind of along the same lines, talking about the mock storm. Really excited for both events, because I will be having the pleasure of kind of getting the aid of meteorologist Rob Reel from WeatherWorks. Will be helping me kind of talk about some of the weather stuff in these mock storms. So that should be fun. He'll be at WeatherWorks on stage with me, and also will be with me there at the Snow Fighters Institute as well. And then if you can't make the Michigan one, there is another one, September 6th and 7th in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, at the Caterpillar dealership or factory. I'm not sure what it is, but it will be there. Another operations forum, and so another really good spot to get good information and to also check out the mock storm training system. So really cool, really cool. I think it's valuable. It's one of those things that sometimes I go, man, like it seems really elementary, which most things do, but not everyone is using it. Not everyone's aware of it. Not everyone's thought of it. So, but definitely something that I want to share with. Again, just something, another tool we can use to prepare, to strategize, get better at our craft. So please consider checking all or some of those out, and hopefully I will see you perhaps sometime this month. So there is a ridiculous, to me it's ridiculous, notion going on right now. And on this show, one of the more common themes. We don't have many, but one of them is AI, artificial intelligence. And we've talked before about ChatGPT. Talked before about how useful it can be, and and actually shown what it's capable of. And since then, there's tons of AI stuff happening, tons of integration into your common everyday websites and applications. It's everywhere. Companies, big and small, are looking for ways to implement it in their day-to-day operations, how to make things easier, how to make things more efficient. But now you're getting some pushback, if you will, from the governments of the world, one of those being ours in America, saying this needs to be regulated. Now, while I do believe that AI definitely poses a significant security risk as far as able to create, phishing attempts and spam and, fake things like that. And it's going to be really, really hard for people out there to really, decipher whether it is fake or real, especially with the help of ChatGPT, writing phishing emails or writing, just, different, bad people stuff. It's going to be tough, but, I don't know. Like, I don't think that's, as big of an issue to just, totally cap it and restrict it, because I'm in the camp, I'm on the side that this is revolutionary technology. It totally changes everything that, every way of life. And I know there are a lot of you are like, I don't even use it. What are you talking about? And just because you don't use it right now doesn't mean that you're not going to be using it this time next year or in 6 months or 2 years. And it's something that other countries, they are using it. They are exploring. They're trying to make it better. They're trying to use it for their benefit. And, a country like China, they may not let it be where all of their population has access to it. Maybe it is something that's only used by the government because of its power. But something kind of a new topic is people suggesting that AI is going to somehow cause human extinction. Now, I think part of this stems from, people messing around with platforms like ChatGPT, asking it silly questions, again, feeding it information, because what people don't understand is the more you interact with this thing, it learns. And the conversations that I have with ChatGPT, it's going to learn from how it responds to me, and it's going to use that if it's asked a similar question in the future by somebody else. So, it's used by millions of people right now. And so every day it's, just gathering all of this information and using it and disseminating it and pumping it out again to come up with better responses. So I think that maybe part of it is, again, you got, people out there that are looking to break it. They're looking to kind of really push and test its limits. And I think that maybe this is kind of where this topic originated. And it's gotten from that point to now we're asking this thing, hey, how would you that AI is somehow going to realize that it's the alpha and it's going to do things and implement things to close up shop for everybody else. There was a weird video. I want to say it may have been in Japan, where they had kind of like a robot droid sort of thing, with AI intelligence for a brain, where it was, doing the job of a warehouse worker. And I think after maybe what full shift, it was like just a couple hours into its shift, it actually like committed robot suicide. It like shut itself down to the point where it couldn't be turned back on. And the reason being is because, it just saw how hopeless that job was, how ridiculous, how unnecessary. And, 2 hours and killed itself. Like, that's crazy. And so you have AI that has, it's able to have these types of thoughts. So I do get it. Maybe there is a reason to, approach this with caution. All I'm saying is every minute that we spend trying to figure out, what kind of cap we need to put on this, how do you need to regulate it, who can access it, who can't. Because another thing that I brought up before, but I'll bring up again, is the education part of this. A lot of teachers, professors, parents, whoever, are upset that kids are using this to help them with projects and essays. They're using it to write for them. People are upset calling that plagiarism. They're calling it outright cheating. I don't know. I don't. To me, it seems like a kid was able to figure out how to finish the project you assigned in 5 minutes instead of working on it for 2 weeks. That's what it seems like to me. Or instead of, reading this book and spending 6 weeks to read it at the leisure that you're going to teach it at, they asked GPT to tell them what this book's about and to write an outline over it. To have ChatGPT say, hey, in, 1,000 words, tell me what this book is about. And, teach me all of its, big time key points. And you're able to do that in 5 minutes. So I think that the question there shouldn't be, should people be using this? I think that they definitely should. And I think if it's that big of a problem for education, then you need to start teaching classes about this, about AI, about how to really, really use it. because if it's able to, absolutely destroy the need to teach these research projects and these big essays and stuff like that. Like I get it. I mean, in high school and middle school, shoot, I mean, the research project was the capstone thing. Writing out everything on index cards, building a presentation, your citations, bibliography, all that stuff, the outlines. And that was a huge project every single year in English. And then as the internet became more prevalent, a more reliable source, because before you did it in the library, right? You looked at different encyclopedias and different books to find information and content to put into your research project. And the internet came through and made all of that. Didn't have to really do that. The internet showed you a faster way. Here's ChatGPT and AI showing you an even faster way. So I don't think that we should necessarily be faulting students for using this to their advantage. If they know how to use it, let them use it. Again, teach them, show them how to hone their skills, and teach them that they should be using this for means of good. But ultimately teach them. And I think that the way you get ahead of this argument of possible human extinction, which is a very emotionally charged statement, but to me, the way you get ahead of it is by teaching. Get this in the hands of more people. Get it in the hands, of people that are going to use it for means of good. Continue to work on it to get it where it needs to be. But to just sit there and say, hey, that's not for us, or to sit there and have a bunch of government regulations that cripple the effectiveness other folks on the world stage as what we need out of this. And it needs to be we just have to keep pushing and have to keep trying to figure out the best ways to go about this. So, and we'll be talking about this more for sure. This is not going away. We will continue to provide kind of updates as they come available. Not necessarily about the extinction part of this, but just overall with AI, because it's super interesting. It's fascinating. And if you still haven't used it, if you still don't really know what I'm talking about, I challenge you to go out and try it out. It's free. It is free. And you will undoubtedly sit there for, 2 hours after opening it up, and you'll just be in amazement of what it's capable of doing. And all the while, remember that you're playing with the free version, not the paid version. Because there's a paid version that's even more remarkable. All right, next. Corporate training events. So I explained that missed the show last week because the week before I was in Pennsylvania at Caliber's headquarters to do a training summit, as they call it. And so, just scheduling wise and stuff, it was something where it was impossible to do the show that week. So, but going through that week, got me thinking about kind of this topic about corporate training. I think, obviously everyone has had corporate training events and attended them, but how often are they effective? Often are people leaving these training events supercharged, empowered, full of energy? Are they in attendance and all the while they're there wondering, man, isn't this the biggest waste of time? I'm here, wherever here is, listening to this BS when I should be elsewhere doing my job. This is waste. And, how often are these events held? Are they held in enough frequency where they matter at all? So you got to think, if you're doing a corporate training event every 2 or 3 years, I mean, that's probably not frequent enough for it to really even matter. Now, on the flip side, I mean, if you're doing something, every other week, that's probably way too much. So it's about finding that, that middle ground that works well. Then when you add in the remote aspect of it, needing to bring people in from all over the country, that adds another layer of difficulty to get around to really make it work. But I ask, are they effective? Because I've sat through these before, and just I wanted to scream, absolutely scream, and just walk out, like damn near quit my job. And not because I'm acting childish and don't want to sit there. I'd rather be outside smoking. No. But the content that's being picked is just so like way too elementary, to where it's if we're really going over this part of the job, then what do you think we were doing anyway? because you're explaining to me how to do my job as if it's day one. But I've been here for 3 years. So who's this for? Because everyone else that's around has been here for years. And you have that sometimes. Or you have the people presenting that you go, oh my God, this person? Really? This is the last person that should be speaking about this or speaking at all. But now I'm sit here and I'm force fed, this garbage for this extended period of time. Again, where I could be getting my actual job done, but now I'm here. Now, fortunately for me, this summit for Caliber was none of these things. It was very well planned and orchestrated. The content was good. It was relevant. They used a variety of employees to speak on things where they were the subject matter expert, which not only was cool because the conversations then were knowledgeable, but it also kind of showed you, hey, I mean, we've got a roster, if this doesn't work out, we can start like this, this worldwide training circuit where this team just goes around and, trains other people. Because my God, I mean, you have some serious talent and experience on that Caliber team, and it was in full display. It was the timing of things, I felt like it was right too. As far as, I think the training was 2 full days. I think maybe a half day in there too. Which, again, I would say that you wouldn't want to go over 3 days, but it definitely needs to be longer than just 1 day. And so it was something where when you left, I think that most people in attendance felt empowered. They left feeling energized. They left feeling good about where they work and who they work for, which matters so much to remote staff. Like, I can't, if you don't know, if you're not remote and you've not worked remote before, man, like, that's something that you gotta know. You have to bring your people in every once in a while to remind them what the company is, to let them meet people that they probably work with but never see. That makes all the difference in the world. But if these training events are done the right way, I think they can be very effective. But the question that needs to be asked, really immediately after the event, more so than, testing for the retention of knowledge, I'm more curious about, like, what are you feeling right now? Like, that's what I want to know. What are you feeling? Because one of the things with these training events, it's usually a lot. It's usually a lot of information. And, so by kind of the end of a day, you've gotten so much, and it's starting to become hard to, continue to listen and retain anything else. And so your mind just kind of starts to shut down. So you might not get and retain every piece of information that's being thrown at you. But again, I want to know how do you feel after this is over? Do you feel like your head's spinning and you have no idea what just happened? And yeah, you might have some energy, but that's probably also anxiety. If that's the case, what just happened was not effective. But if you're able to, I don't know, give me a recap of, 75% of what happened that day, you're energetic, you feel empowered. I mentioned supercharged. Supercharged is I'm learning information that I am quickly going, oh my God, I can use this here, 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 and here. And I'm learning something else that I can use over here. And I am planning in my head how to use everything that I'm being taught as soon as it's taught. And I just want to get out of here so I can go do it. That's supercharged. Are your events like that? Because they should be. And if they're not, you owe it to your employees to make them that way. There's a lot of training events out there that are way too vanilla or way too complex. And there needs to be a mix of both. One of the service providers that I work with, and we talked on the phone yesterday about this exact topic. And, he kind of said that when he has his, like preseason snow training, that it's hard for people to pay attention because they're too busy, like, networking and, shooting the shit. And so made the comment about, hey, like, what if instead of just doing this for one day, you made it into two? And, what if you, kind of started the day with, some sort of a brunch where these guys can start talking and having their catching up type of conversations. Then you get into some training. And then at the end of that first day, maybe you invite everybody out for drinks. That gives them more time to have the conversations they want to have so that when actual training is happening, they're going to pay attention. And, excuse me. And when you are able to set this training in the right way, you might unleash a team that is supercharged and just ready to go. And that's what you want. Anytime that your team is leading or leaving training, they're leaving the home office, you want them to feel like, man, I could work here another 5 years easy. I could work here 10 years easy. I can do this. I love my job. And I feel that I have the tools to do it the way this company wants me to do it. And, that's what I think the general takeaway was during that summit at Caliber. Came away with a lot of great ideas, a lot of great things that are going to be on the horizon, rapidly approaching. And again, I mean, it's just something that if you don't have that, you need to get it. And I know for a fact there are some companies out there that do not have that. They don't. And, they desperately, desperately need it. So, I'm fortunate to be with the haves and not the have-nots when it comes to the, but that's just how it goes. So, gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for today. One last note of information before I let you go. We did the podcast. We really didn't know, I don't know, how many episodes we were going to try to do, or how any of this was really going to play out. And so we are at the 26th episode of season 1 of the Industry Podcast. And I think our, what's the word I'm looking for? I think the path we're headed down right now is that by probably late or mid to late July, I think, is when we're going to end season 1. And then right around the beginning of September, we will be opening it up and starting season 2. Now you may ask yourself, what are you talking about seasons with a podcast? Well, it's kind of a creative decision to kind of cap certain parts. So I think after season 1 is in the books, we'll have, I think between 30 to 35 episodes for that season. And, season 2, we're going to, come back stronger. We're going to continue to work on the product we're delivering. Might be changing up some things like, intro music and just some stuff. So, but just wanted to start putting it out there to remind people that there will be a stretch of probably solid month and a half where we will not have any new episodes until season 2 debuts. So just wanted to put that out there. But as always, I really appreciate everybody tuning in and supporting us. Hear good things about how this podcast and how this show is being received. So definitely want to keep doing it. To all my snow friends, be seeing you next week at the symposium. Look forward to catching up. And until next time, we will see